The moment I cross over, I'm bound to a villain system, one that rewards me for stealing the protagonist's fated opportunities. Pull it off, and I score a rich reward. But every time I lay out a careful scheme, something always throws it into chaos for no reason. I used to think as long as the opportunity doesn't go to the protagonist, that already counts as a win. Turns out whatever treasure some thief steals from me always ends up falling straight into the protagonist's hands anyway. Right now, the system prompt appears before me again. Option 1. Convert all my contribution points into herbs, follow the compendium of 100 herbs, and try to refine a pill cloud grade pill. Reward: the 10,000 Wonders Pill Manual, and Emperor rank low grade heart method. Option 2. Go watch the protagonist Rowan Sterling refine his pill, and gain experience from it. Reward: the Mystic Heaven Armor, a sovereign rank low grade defensive treasure. Option 3. Walk straight out of the pill pavilion. Reward: 1 random attribute point. This time, I've lost all interest in the first two. All I want now is to go full slacker mode. Without a shred of hesitation, I pick option 3 and head down the mountain. Quest complete. Reward: +1 to mouth. Mouth attribute. That reminds me, I pull up my personal stat panel for the first time. Name: Ren Ashford. Realm: Peak Chi Refinement. Aptitude: Exceptional. Spirit Root: Gold Spirit Root. Technique: the 8 Harmonies Technique, Mystic rank low grade. Movement skill: the Shadowbound Step, Mystic rank low grade. Heart method: the 49 Cycle Heart method, Mystic rank mid-grade or above. For a cultivator still stuck at Chui refinement, this is nothing short of outstanding. 2 techniques and 1 heart method, all Mystic rank. In this world of cultivation, nearly everything gets sorted into 4 grades: Heaven, Earth, Mystic, and Yellow. And generally speaking, Mystic rank things are only meant for cultivators at Golden Core or above, let alone techniques and heart methods, the very things that raise real strength the fastest. As for how I ended up with these, I keep scrolling down through the system information. Attribute list. Eyes, mortal grade tier 1, cost. Spirit stones boosts eyesight. Ears, mortal grade tier 1, cost. Spirit stones boosts hearing. Mouth, mortal grade tier 1, 1 out of 10, sharpens tongue dexterity. Nose, mortal grade tier 1, cost. Spirit stones adapts to harsh smells. Body, mortal grade tier 1, cost. Spirit stones, raw physical power. These stats are honestly kind of fun. Sharpening my tongue's flexibility, I give it a quick try, then think back to before. My tongue really does seem to move faster now. While I'm walking and checking my stat panel, another round of quest options pops up. Option 1. Reignite my ambition. Turn back to the pill pavilion. Use my special privileges there to gather a huge batch of herbs and try to refine a pill cloud grade pill. Reward: the Primordial Cauldron, an Emperor rank mid-grade furnace. Option 2. 1 karma point. Guide Iris Hale to where the protagonist Rowan Sterling is refining pills. Reward: the Yellow Light Chart, a Mystic rank low-grade treasure. Option 3. Block her path. Reward: 1 random attribute point. As for option 1, asking me to refine a pill cloud grade pill again, I ignore it once more. Are they kidding? No matter how good the reward is, I can't even guarantee a pill pattern grade pill right now, and on top of that, I'm carrying a heavy villain debuff. There's basically no hope. As for option 2, I glance up, a little confused, and see that plain white dress from last night. My eyes drift upward. 2 brows like distant hills, eyes like clear autumn water, lips cherry red, skin white as jade. Her hair is pinned up with a simple wooden hairpin. It's her. The woman my former self once cared for most, my martial sister, Iris Hale. Even now, seeing her again, my heart skips half a beat. But stunning as she is, 1 karma point is basically useless to me at this point. It looks like Iris might just be the female lead of this story. Either way, I go with option 3. Anything to do with the protagonist, I let run its course. I just want the random attribute point. I lean my body slightly to the right, blocking the only path up the mountain. Lost in thought a moment ago, Iris doesn't notice me right away. Seeing us about to collide, she looks momentarily indignant. But right as she's about to be forced straight into my arms, I step aside on my own. Now it's her turn to freeze, caught completely off guard. For a moment she doesn't know what to say. My original plan was only to block her path. I never meant to take advantage of the moment. So the instant I sense the accident about to happen, I dodge cleanly aside. Once she's steady on her feet again, I block her path once more. Quest complete. Reward: +1 to mouth. Mouth, again. The quest is over now, so I naturally step out of her way and keep walking down the mountain. Neither of us says a word the whole time. As for someone suddenly blocking her path, then stepping aside, then blocking it again, then walking off down the mountain without a word, even someone as composed as Iris can't help feeling baffled. She turns to watch my retreating back, sensing something is just off. The protagonist Rowan successfully refines a pill cloud grade pill. The news spreads like wildfire, reaching nearly every ear in the Azure Sun sect. Of course, there are a few rare exceptions, like me. Right now I'm lying lazily on a stretch of hillside, leisurely running through my heart method mantra, cultivating step by step. About half an hour later I stretch and sit back up, working the stiffness out of my body and muttering to myself, not bad for a mystic rank heart method. Just a short session, and my whole body already feels pleasantly warm. This is none other than me, already fully slacked off. Sure, I've given up on any villain's grand comeback, but that doesn't mean I'm giving up on life entirely. I just no longer care about anything to do with the protagonist. I don't have the strength to fight him anyway. Even if I end up as some background extra, as long as I'm alive and safe, that's fine by me. With that mindset settled, over the next few days, I suddenly find I've stumbled onto a whole new world. On one hand, thanks to my exceptional aptitude, my cultivation has already brushed up against the bottleneck of Foundation establishment. On the other hand, I've picked up quite a few attribute points, so overall, it's been a pretty rewarding stretch. While I'm looking back on all this, new system information and a fresh quest option surface in my mind. The protagonist Rowan, thanks to a spirit energy reservoir far beyond his cultivation level, has taken 6 Foundation pills and reached Foundation establishment. Comparing our starting points, I was at peak chi refinement while he was only at the 7th or 8th layer. Now he's effortlessly overtaken me. The old me might have burned with resentment over that, but honestly, it doesn't bother me anymore. I look at it from a different angle instead. In just a few short days, I've already reached the edge of Foundation establishment myself. Among my peers, that's more than enough to be proud of. What more could I ask for? I keep reading further. Compared to the protagonist situation, I care a lot more about my own. Option 1. Break through, trade for a large batch of herbs, and refine any pill cloud grade pill. Reward, the Heaven and Earth pill, an Emperor rank mid-grade pill. Option 2. Ride this pill refining trend, organize a pill crafting gathering, and build up my network. Reward, the Blazing Flame Array, a sovereign rank high-grade formation. Option 3. Keep letting Iris watch me from the shadows, staying right where I am. Reward, 1 random attribute point. After reading option 1, I have to say, this system is stubbornly persistent. I can't even guarantee a pill pattern grade pill, and it keeps dangling good rewards to tempt me anyway. As for the second option, setting aside the reputation I used to have among the other disciples, organizing a pill crafting gathering would inevitably bring up that recent rising star, the protagonist Rowan. I really don't want to risk running into some bizarre conflict, so it has to be option 3. Stay right here. Cultivate if I feel like it, rest if I'm tired. With that, I lie back down again. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to body. A faint sting spreads through my whole body, but it quickly fades away without a trace, leaving behind a slowly building sense of strength. Of course, I don't overlook the mention of Iris in the system either. Truth is, I've known for 3 days now that she keeps watching me in secret from time to time. This time she probably just arrived. I still don't know the reason behind it, but every time she starts tailing me, it tends to trigger a new system quest option, and I get to rack up attribute points quickly. So just 5 minutes later, when a new quest option pops up right in front of me, I'm not even surprised. Option 1, put on a display for myself, make Iris, watching from hiding, warm up to me. Reward, the Feather Flight Blade, a mystic rank high-grade treasure. Option 2, find Iris and ask her directly why she's been tailing me. Reward, the Golden Sun Chant, a yellow rank mid-grade talisman. Option 3, stay right here, pretend I know nothing. Reward, 1 random attribute point. Put on a show to win her over? Iris isn't exactly the swooning type. Besides, I'm not the protagonist. I don't get to just flex once and have someone fall head over heels for me. Better not to fantasize about that. And option 2, if I confront her directly, how am I supposed to keep milking her for free rewards later? Has to be option 3. I act like I'm all alone here, start running through my heart method mantra again, and keep cultivating at an easy pace. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to ears. A light breeze drifts by, carrying the scent of fresh grass. I circulate my spirit energy through 1 full cycle, roughly 10 minutes. Right then, a new quest option surfaces in my mind. Option 1, 1 karma point. Deliberately leave and shake Iris off. Reward, the Golden Light Chant, a sovereign rank low-grade talisman. Option 2, stay right where I am, pretend I know nothing. Reward, 1 random attribute point, only 2 options this time. But for me it barely makes a difference. I go with option 2 of course, safe steady attribute points, quest complete, reward, +1 to mouth. My mouth attribute now sits at 9 out of 10. Just a little more, and I'll break through mortal grade tier 1. I wonder what new ability that will unlock. A small spark of anticipation stirs in my chest. About 10 minutes later, the system quest option, the 3rd time's the charm, doesn't disappoint. Option 1, attempt to break through to Foundation establishment right here. Either succeed and reach Foundation establishment, or fail and be cared for by Iris. Reward, 3 pill pattern grade Foundation pills, mystic rank high grade. Option 2, stand up, walk around, and pretend to accidentally notice Iris is there. Reward, the 5 element serpent egg, a mystic rank mid-grade spirit beast egg. Option 3, stay where I am. Reward, 1 random attribute point. 3. I barely finish reading before I've already decided. Quest complete, reward +1 to... Wait, eyes attribute. This time it's actually eyes. First time in all these days. I glance far off into the distance. My eyesight does seem sharper. Still, right about now I'm looking forward to the mouth attribute breaking through even more. At this crucial moment, I just sit up straight, keep running my heart method mantra, and wait for the next quest option to arrive. Ren, why are you out here all alone? Before the next round of quests shows up, a voice suddenly rings in my ears. A familiar-sounding greeting. I turn to look toward the voice. A group dressed in silk robes much like my own is walking this way. Brock Dane, nephew of the Fifth Elder, Milo Reyes, nephew of Steward Chu of the Chi Refinement Hall, and Finn Cole. Memories of each of them flicker through my mind in turn. I quickly realize these are all fellow cultivator kids, just like me. I slowly stop cycling my heart method and tease them in a familiar tone. Brock, Milo, Finn. What are you three doing here? Brock, leading the group, raises an eyebrow and shoots back, none too pleased. Hey, you've got some nerve. You vanished without a word for days, and we thought you'd found something good and forgotten all about us. With that, Brock changes tack. Oh, by the way, Ren, we found something fun recently. We came out here specially to bring you along. Something fun? Looking at their excited faces, I'm puzzled for a moment. At the same time, a new quest option appears before me. Option 1. Convince Brock and the others to start cultivating seriously from today on. Give up every idle hobby. Reward. The Rosy Jade Stone, Mystic Rank high-grade refining material. Option 2. Cut ties with Brock and the others and turn down the invitation. Reward. The Earth Escape Talisman, Mystic Rank low grade. Option 3. Accept the invitation. Reward. 1 random attribute point. As for these fellow cultivator kids, I know them well enough. Unlike me, their aptitude isn't great. They might never make a name for themselves in the cultivation world, so there's really no point forcing them to give up their mortal world hobbies. After all, even I chose to slack off once I realized I couldn't compete with the protagonist. I nod, though my expression still carries a hint of doubt, and say, Fine, let's go. Might as well see what you three are up to. Quest complete. Reward +1 to body. Hearing my agreement, Brock's square face lights up with a broad grin. You've got nerve calling us out. You're the one who's been nowhere to be seen these past few days, he says, already turning around and taking the lead. We head out of the sect. Southwest of that hillside clearing, not far off beside a tallow tree, Iris watches our retreating backs, still a little unsettled inside. That afternoon, when I blocked her path, then stepped aside without a word. That whole strange sequence keeps nagging at her, as if I'd become an entirely different person. If that were all, she wouldn't dwell on it. But the night before, she accidentally knocked me out, so she's been wondering whether my sudden change of temperament, even the way I seem a little off, might have something to do with that. Even though it was me who first had unwelcome thoughts and put my hands where they didn't belong, if I really ended up simple-minded because of it, she'd still feel guilty. And after all these days of watching me in secret, Iris is more and more convinced something isn't quite right with me. I used to either chase pleasure outside every day or throw my weight around inside the sect, but now I'm always off alone somewhere quiet, staring into space. If this keeps up, she thinks she might actually need to find a healer to check on me. Luckily, when that group of cultivator kids showed up and talked with me a while, I left with them. It looks like we're off to have some fun outside. Which means her worry was probably unnecessary after all, but she can't be sure. Watching my back nearly vanish from sight, she still can't tell whether I'm really alright. A flicker of hesitation crosses her blue eyes, but in the end she stomps her foot and follows after us anyway. About half an hour's walk later, Iris keeps a steady, careful distance behind us the whole way. Then, once we enter Willow City, the closest mortal town to the Azure Sun Sect, our group finally stops in front of a tall pavilion, and she halts almost in the same instant. Iris lifts the veil of her hat and reads the sign on the pavilion, Drunken Blossom Pavilion. Just then, she happens to see, walking out from inside, a few very lightly dressed women leading us in. Taking it all in, Iris feels her cheeks warm slightly, a flush spreading down her pale neck. She doesn't linger a moment longer. She turns and walks quickly away. At almost the exact same moment, I've just been led into this newly opened Drunken Blossom Pavilion. 3 quest options appear in my mind. Option 1, keep a low profile, sit in a corner of the main hall, quietly watch and listen. Reward, the Fire Spirit Carving, a Mystic Rank high-grade spirit pet. Option 2, leave at once and explain myself to Iris, who followed me here. Reward, the Green Forest Lock, Mystic Rank low-grade defensive treasure. Option 3, follow along, head into a private room, and enjoy myself. Reward, 1 random attribute point. After reading through all these options, I realize Iris actually followed me all the way here. Looks like she only turned around and left once she saw me step inside. What was going through her mind? I don't dwell on it further. As for the relevant quest option, since I already agreed to come out and enjoy myself, going along with things is the sensible choice. I choose option 3, staying quiet. Under Brock's enthusiastic arrangements, our group follows a graceful, elegant woman up to the 2nd floor, into a private room. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to nose. Ding. Azithar's notes ring out like a clear mountain spring, starting the moment we all step through the door, the melody sweet and winding, as if soft fingers were tugging gently at every heart in the room. For a moment, Brock and the others slow their steps without meaning to, a haze creeping into their eyes. As for me, I feel myself starting to slip under too, but right then a new quest option surfaces in my mind, snapping me back to my senses. Option 1. Step forward and expose the woman playing the zither for using her music to manipulate minds. Reward: the Clarity Mind Chant Mystic Rank Mid-Grade Heart Method. Option 2. Wake up my fellow disciples beside me before they fall too deep under the spell. Reward: 100 top-grade Spirit Stones, Mystic Rank Low Grade. Option 3. Stay silent and let the song play out. Reward: 1 random attribute point. Without knowing the real cause yet, it's probably not wise to jump straight to option 1. As for option 2, offering Spirit Stones as the reward, given who I am, I never lack Spirit Stones for cultivating anyway. But looking out for the few friends I have is worth doing. So I choose option 2. It really does look like she only turned back after seeing me walk into this pavilion. What was going through her mind? I don't dig any deeper into it. As for the relevant quest option, since I already agreed to come out and enjoy myself, going along is the sensible choice. I choose option 3, staying quiet. Under Brock's enthusiastic arrangements, our group follows a graceful woman up to the second floor, into a private room. Quest complete. Reward +1 to nose. Ding. A zither rings out clear as a mountain spring, starting the moment we step through the door, its melody sweet and winding, as if soft fingers were tugging gently at every heart in the room. For a moment, Brock and the others slow their steps without meaning to, a haze creeping into their eyes. As for me, I feel myself slipping under too. But right then a new quest option surfaces in my mind, snapping me back to my senses. Option 1. Step forward and expose the woman playing the zither for using her music to manipulate minds. Reward: the Clarity Mind Chant Mystic Rank Mid-Grade Heart Method. Option 2. Wake my fellow disciples beside me before they fall too deep under. Reward: 100 top-grade Spirit Stones, Mystic Rank Low Grade. Option 3. Stay silent and let the song play out. Reward: 1 random attribute point. Without knowing the real cause yet, it's better not to jump straight to option 1. As for option 2, offering Spirit Stones as the reward, given who I am, I never lack Spirit Stones for cultivating. But looking out for the few friends I have is worth doing. So I choose option 2. Right as the music swells, I clap my hands, pretending I simply couldn't help myself, and cut in loudly. No wonder you all recommended this place. This one song alone is already worth the trip. At my rather abrupt outburst of praise, the silhouette of the woman behind the screen lays her hand flat on the strings, stopping the song. The haze in Brock and the others' eyes slowly begins to clear, pulling them back to reality. Quest complete. Reward: 100 top-grade Spirit Stones, Mystic Rank Low Grade, now stored away in my storage ring. They all nod along. Finn, still savoring the melody, chimes in. Yeah, this isn't the first time I've heard this song, but it gets under your skin every single time. Then he turns toward the screen, at the hazy figure behind it, with a note of complaint. Why'd you stop playing? My friend Ren finally made it out here and you dare cut it short on him? Through the sheer gauze, the silhouette bows slightly in apology, and a new melody drifts once more into everyone's ears. Seeing this, I inwardly curse. I'd wanted to find an excuse to get everyone out of here, but the new melody carries none of that manipulative pull from before. It's just pleasant, soothing music. Was I just too on edge? Maybe that earlier trick was simply the Drunken Blossom Pavilion's way of drawing in customers. I hold off on jumping to conclusions and wait a moment, watching for any new quest option. When the system stays quiet for a while, I finally start to relax a little. Meanwhile, Brock, as the one who organized this outing, strides over energetically and pulls out the seat of honor. Ren, this is your first time here, he announces. The best part's still coming. Come on, sit down first. I don't refuse. Back when we used to go out together, I always took the seat of honor anyway. I set aside my earlier suspicion about the music for now. Then I won't hold back, I say with a smile. Let's see what you boys have to offer today. With that, Brock and the others take their seats. Outside the door, 6 attendants begin carrying in plate after plate of delicacies and fine wine. The liquor's finally warmed and ready. Brock can't hold back any longer. He lifts a cup and starts describing it to me. This is top-shelf stuff, brewed from fresh fruit. Try it, Ren. No sooner has he said this than he takes a sip himself, unable to wait. Not wanting to disappoint him, I lift my own cup. Right away, I catch a rich, heady aroma. The wine goes down soft and smooth at first, then a burst of fire rushes straight up through my chest. Whoop! Just 1 cup down, and I already feel a pleasant warmth breaking into a sweat all over. Seeing my reaction, Brock pours another cup and boasts. See? With music like that and wine like this place is one of a kind, right? Come on, and the food here is just as good. There's a dance performance coming up too. As a cultivator kid, I've had my share of mortal world pleasures before, but an experience like the Drunken Blossom Pavilion is still a first. Amid the clinking cups, several dancers glide into the room, and in step with the melody, they begin a wonderfully alluring dance. Just as I'm getting swept up in it, clang. Right as my guard's almost completely down, a violent crash of combat erupts downstairs. At the same moment, 3 quest options appear in my mind. Option 1. Go help Elder Lyria subdue Vance Gray. Reward: the Shadow Trace Step, a Mystic Rank high-grade movement skill. Note: Elder Lyria is a mid-Golden Core cultivator. Vance Gray is an early Golden Core cultivator, and it was Vance who once injured the host. Option 2. Wait for the protagonist Rowan to show up and team up with him to subdue Vance. Reward, the Golden Seal Lock, Mystic Rank Mid-Grade. Option 3, go take a look. Reward, 1 random attribute point. The one who injured me? Reading this note, I'm confused for a moment, but I quickly realize it must be talking about the night I fought over that rare treasure, the one who broke into the Azure Sun sect. Back then, after all that effort, I walked away with nothing and took a hit from him besides. If not for a spirit remedy like the bone-mending salve, I might not have healed even now. So when I see these 3 options, I decide on option 3, just going to take a look. I position myself somewhere out of the way, unlikely to be spotted from downstairs. After all, that man Vance probably still recognizes me. Even if he looks outmatched right now, too busy to notice anyone else. Better safe than sorry. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to body. Though it was the system that pushed me to be the first one out here to watch the show, in truth, while Brock and the others watch on with keen interest, I'm more focused on something else. Between everything I've seen so far, this Drunken Blossom Pavilion looks like it's open to ordinary townsfolk, but really it caters mostly to cultivators. The zither player in that private room could even use her music to pull chi refinement disciples like us straight into a daze. So when a fight breaks out here, why hasn't the manager stepped in to stop it? A Golden Core cultivator really is a formidable existence out in the mortal world, but given the depth this place has already shown, it shouldn't be helpless to stop this. Doubt after doubt flickers through my mind, but before I can think it through, Vance Gray, retreating and parrying blow after blow in the main hall, suddenly curls his fingers into a claw and lunges toward the crowd. With a thud, whether by coincidence or not, the target he singles out is none other than the protagonist, Rowan. Somehow Rowan has also ended up at the Drunken Blossom Pavilion. Facing that claw strike, Rowan pours all his spirit power into blocking it, just barely holding his ground. Even though Vance fails to land the hit, the protagonist Rowan gets dragged into the brawl regardless. Shaken by this sudden turn, I set my many doubts aside for now and glance down toward the hall. 3 quest options appear before me at once. Option 1, carefully study Vance's weaknesses and shout them out loud to the Golden Core cultivator Elder Lyria. Reward, the 1000 Mechanism Shift, Earth Rank, Low-Grade Treasure. Option 2, 1 Karma Point. Join forces with the protagonist Rowan on the spot to subdue Vance. Reward, the Nethergloom Herb, Earth Rank, Low-Grade Herb. Option 3, keep standing right where I am and watch. Reward, 1 random attribute point. A battle between Golden Core cultivators. What chance do I have of spotting any weakness in that? And even the protagonist Rowan, with Fated Luck shielding him, has already taken several hits, blood trickling from his lips. I don't wish death on him, but there's absolutely no way I'm stepping in to get beaten up myself. Better to stand quietly up here and grab a few attribute points. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to mouth. With that, my long-awaited mouth attribute finally breaks past mortal grade tier 1. I lose all interest in watching downstairs and quickly pull up my attribute panel. Attribute list. Eyes, mortal grade tier 1, 1 out of 10, boosts eyesight. Ears, mortal grade tier 1, 4 out of 10, boosts hearing. Mouth, mortal grade tier 2, 0 out of 20, mimics different voices. Nose, mortal grade tier 1, 8 out of 10, adapts to harsh smells. Body, mortal grade tier 1, 7 out of 10, raw physical power. Mimicking voices isn't exactly something that boosts my combat power directly, but it still feels pretty fun. Out of everyone here, Milo's voice is the easiest to recognize. I recall it briefly, then try it out. Brock? Huh? Why are you calling me? Brock says, pulling his eager gaze away, looking blankly at Milo. Caught off guard, Milo, who's been fully absorbed in watching the fight, is just as puzzled, asking uncertainly, "Did I say something?" Meanwhile, I've just watched my voice mimicking ability work for the first time. I don't push my luck further and turn to head back into the private room to rest, since I decided long ago that anything involving the protagonist is something I let run its course. But right then, 3 quest options appear in my mind. Option 1, carefully study Vance's weaknesses and shout them to the Golden Core cultivator Elder Lyria. Reward, the 1000 Mechanism Shift, Earth Rank Low-Grade Treasure. Option 2, 1 Karma Point. Join forces with the protagonist Rowan to subdue Vance. Reward, the Nethergloom Herb, Earth Rank Low-Grade Herb. Option 3, keep standing right here and watch. Reward, 1 random attribute point. These are exactly the same as the ones I just saw. I don't quite understand what's wrong with the system this time, but for the sake of the attribute point, I stop mid-step and linger a while longer where I am. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to eyes. Good. Another free attribute point in the bag. This time I have no more reason to linger, so I move to head back to the private room to rest, and yet again, and again, the exact same system options show up once more. The same 3 options keep repeating over and over in my mind. Then, one after another, my system keeps flashing. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to mouth. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to body. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to body. After this whole streak, I've gained 2 more attribute breakthroughs at Mortal Grade Tier 1. Body, Mortal Grade Tier 2, 0 out of 20, moves like a swimming dragon. At the same time, I can clearly feel every bone in my body creak and click faintly, a dull ache spreading through me briefly. But before long, the ache fades, and I can feel my physical condition has taken a real leap forward. This is almost too easy. I clench my fist hard. Even now, I can barely believe it. and just as I'm savoring this strange new strength, someone suddenly yanks my arm. Move, move. The third elder and the deputy hallmaster of the Pill Pavilion are downstairs. If we're any later, we'll miss it. It's Finn giving me the warning. At some point, the fight has already ended. The Golden Core cultivator Vance Gray has died right here. The protagonist Rowan lies unconscious, being urgently treated by the third elder and the deputy hallmaster of the Pill Pavilion. As for Brock and Milo, the two of them have already retreated to a corner, trade a quick glance, and slip out separately through the back door. Right at that moment, an update on the protagonist's status appears in my mind. Protagonist Rowan's basic status, 5-vein spirit root, fated luck is protection. After taking wisteria petals, he was tracked by Vance Gray on his way down the mountain, forced to take refuge in the Drunken Blossom Pavilion, and nearly cornered several times during the fight. His cultivation has stabilized at early foundation establishment. He's just taken a life-reviving pill from the Deputy Hallmaster of the Pill Pavilion, Earth rank low grade. He's out of danger now, and the spirit energy stored in his body could push him to mid-foundation establishment at any moment. Through this, he's also earned the favor of the third elder, Elder Lyria. None of this really surprises me. The protagonist pulled back from the brink of death and then reaping a rich harvest as a matter of course. That's just how things go for him. But it suddenly makes me think back to those strange back-to-back system triggers earlier. Could it be because the protagonist's cultivation shot up too fast all at once, so that this fated great villain wouldn't fall behind? That whole burst just happened? Given the clear gap in power between us, it seems that the very moment Rowan fights tooth and nail to claim some great opportunity, I, thanks to being the villain, still end up gaining some modest fortune of my own, even while slacking off. As I'm mulling this over seriously, a faint scent suddenly drifts past my nose. I snap back to attention and look up, just as an attendant approaches gracefully, a soft smile on her lovely face. She bows slightly, head lowered, and says, "Young Master Ashford, our proprietress would like to see you." Before I can ask anything further, 3 quest options surface in my mind. Option 1. Subdue the attendant in front of me, and take her downstairs to tell the third elder and the deputy hallmaster that the proprietress of this Drunken Blossom Pavilion is a saintess of the heaven-deceiving sect. Reward: the Heart-Guarding Ward, Earth rank mid-grade treasure. Option 2. Make an excuse and leave, shaking her off. Reward: the Tenere chart, Mystic rank, low-grade manual. Option 3. Accept the invitation and go with her. Reward: 1 random attribute point. The heaven-deceiving sect? That's a demonic sect! The true owner behind the Drunken Blossom Pavilion is actually one of them. No wonder the manager stood by and watched during that fight earlier. My thoughts race. Option 1 asks me to restrain the attendant in front of me and take her downstairs to explain everything. But setting aside how I'd even explain how I knew such a hidden secret in the first place, at just peak chi refinement, I'm not even sure I could overpower this seemingly delicate attendant. And judging from how I've come to know this system over time, even though I still haven't fully figured it out, rewards at Earth rank mid-grade have only ever shown up before when it was demanding I refine a pill cloud grade pill. So I have every reason to believe this option is nothing but a trap. As for option 3, accepting the invitation and going with her, sure, I fully embrace slacking off, and a mere attribute point would satisfy me, but I'm not a fool. Walking straight into a tiger's den knowing full well she's a demonic saintess is just asking for trouble, so I choose option 2. I'm busy right now, out of my way, I say, putting on an impatient expression and deliberately lowering my voice into a rebuke. Since she came looking for me on her own, she clearly has some scheme in mind. She may well have already looked into how I usually behave, so a simple, blunt refusal should do the trick. Sure enough, hearing my sharp brush off, the attendant looks a little flustered and quickly steps out of my way. Seeing that she doesn't push further, the tension in my chest slowly eases. Before long, having successfully slipped away, I make it back to the bustling street outside. Glancing back, I see the Drunken Blossom Pavilion growing smaller behind me. The third elder, the deputy hallmaster, and the protagonist Rowan all come filing out one after another, and only then does the knot in my chest finally settle. If not for the system's warning, I'd never have known just how much hidden danger there was. Wait, speaking of the system, I suddenly noticed the reward for my last quest option still hasn't come through. That can't be a glitch, can it? A flicker of suspicion crosses my mind, and right then, a ticklish feeling brushes my ear, as if someone is pressed right up against me, their breath warm against my cheek. Looking for me? That's the last thing I hear before everything goes dark. My vision fades to black, and I slip away without a sound. When I finally drift awake, I find myself lying in an unfamiliar room. Not far from the bed curtains, beside a round table, a woman sits with her chin resting on one hand, lost in thought. I only meant to glance once, but the next second I forget all about my situation and can't help but stare. A soft, luminous face, eyes like flowing water, brows lightly arched, a pair of slender jade earrings framing it all. Before I know it, I'm completely lost in her. But right at that moment, a system quest option appears before me, jolting me back to my senses. Option 1. Pretend to keep staring, entranced. Reward: the 100-day insight, Mystic rank mid-grade manual. Option 2. Quietly slip out of bed and try to sneak away. Reward: the 1000 army brush, Mystic rank low-grade treasure. Option 3. Speak up and ask who she is. Reward, 1 random attribute point. My first instinct is to go with option 1, keep playing entranced. From the options wording, I can already guess I've probably fallen for another illusion technique without meaning to. To hide my weakness and stay safe, pretending to know nothing seems like the smart move. But before I can make up my mind, a memory suddenly surfaces. My experience with the last quest option. Looking at it now, this woman, or whoever's watching from the shadows, has probably already seen through the fact that I broke free of the illusion. If I pretend to still be under it, that would only make her more suspicious of me. I'm at the Drunken Blossom Pavilion. Once the logic clicks into place, I don't hesitate any longer. I go straight for option 3. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to eyes. Hearing my question, the woman seems to snap out of her own thoughts, tilting her head, her eyes clear and bright as spring water. Yes, she says easily. I'm the proprietress of the Drunken Blossom Pavilion. I had someone invite you here, but since you weren't willing, I had to resort to other means. She admits it so bluntly that I freeze for a moment. While I'm caught off guard, she rises from her seat and walks straight toward the bed. My face instinctively shifts to wary. Snapping back to focus, I hadn't expected her to suddenly move like this. But quickly remembering my situation, I hastily rein the wariness back in, though the shift in my expression has already been caught by her entirely. She stops right there and asks with a touch of curiosity, "Are you afraid of me?" A little. There's no hiding it after everything before, let alone now. I just nod and add, "The moment I walked into that private room at the Drunken Blossom Pavilion, I heard music that could bewitch the mind. Then a fight broke out between Golden Core cultivators, and you all just stood by. Now, because I turned down your invitation, you had me knocked out and brought here. Anyone with sense would feel at least some worry. Aside from not naming her identity directly, I lay out basically every doubt I've noticed one by one. On her side, she listens to my whole analysis with real interest, then breaks into a bright smile. Well, it seems we think pretty much alike then. I don't quite follow this saintess's train of thought, but soon she starts counting off points on her fingers. Look, this so-called spoiled azure sunsect brat actually thinks with such clarity. On the surface, you're just peak chi refinement, yet you broke free of an illusion technique instantly and were even cautious enough to completely ignore an invitation from the proprietress of the Drunken Blossom Pavilion herself. Hearing this, I inwardly wince. Both of those points were actually just choices from the system's quest options. Waking my fellow disciples before they fell too deep under, reward 100 top-grade spirit stones, mystic rank low-grade, and making an excuse to leave and shake off her attendant. Reward, the 10 array chart, mystic rank, low-grade manual. I even seriously reasoned through those choices at the time. Who could have guessed it would lead to all this? If I hadn't shown that suspicious ability to break the illusion right away, there probably wouldn't have been that invitation later. And if, when she invited me, I hadn't turned her down, I probably wouldn't have ended up knocked out and brought here either. Each of these moments is a link in a chain, connected by the choices I made, which pretty thoroughly confirms one thing about the system's quest options. The plain old attribute point reward really is the simplest, safest way to go. Seeing me fall silent again, Vesper Kane raises an eyebrow slightly, a faint smile playing at the corner of her mouth. She then pulls from her inner world a few foundation pills shimmering with spirit energy and holds them out. So, you're not upset with me, are you? If you are, consider these pills my apology. Such an abrupt turn. For a moment I can't quite keep up. 1 second ago she was picking apart the secrets behind my behavior, and the next she's suddenly worried I might be upset, offering an apology on top of it. Does a demonic saintess actually worry about people being upset with her? Head still full of questions, 3 quest options pop up. Option 1, neither accept nor refuse. Reward, Ink Sky, Mystic Rank Mid-Grade Treasure. Option 2, say I'd rather we both speak plainly and ask what she really wants. Reward, the Emperor's River Chart Mystic Rank Mid-Grade Manual. Option 3, reach out and accept the foundation pills. Reward, 1 random attribute point. Going purely by my own judgment, Option 1's silence and Option 2's push for honesty both look more sensible than Option 3. After all, an apology out of nowhere, complete with a box of foundation pills, none of it adds up in any normal way. But by the same reasoning as before, both Option 1 and Option 2 are bound to spark yet another chain of events. Option 3 remains the simplest way to handle this. I want to take a moment to think it through more carefully, but I suddenly realize I probably can't afford to stall too long. Otherwise the system might just count my hesitation as Option 1's neither accept nor refuse anyway. I go with Option 3. Steeling myself, I reach out, and the box of foundation pills is placed right into my palm. Quest complete. Reward, +1 to body. Seeing this, Vesper's lips curve up slightly. You're close to breaking through to Foundation Establishment, aren't you? Want to try a breakthrough now? I can guard you while you do it, free of charge. There she goes again. It's not like this demonic saintess is here just to shower me with perks. I'm not the protagonist. Wait, could the villain and the saintess just happen to be a match made for each other? But a woman this stunning, even one from a demonic sect, rarely goes out of her way to show this kind of favor to a villain. Just as my thoughts tangle into a complete mess, a new quest option appears again. Option 1, sit down and attempt the breakthrough to Foundation Establishment right now. Reward, the 9-star Convergence, Earth Rank Low-Grade Sword Manual. Option 2, ask her directly when I'll be allowed to leave. Reward, The 3-element scripture, mystic rank mid-grade heart method. Option 3. Pull 100 top-grade spirit stones from my inner world and hand them to her, telling her I'm simply paying for the pills. Reward, 1 random attribute point. What kind of choice is this? Just sitting down to break through to Foundation establishment only earns an Earth rank low-grade reward? There's no way I'm picking that. I did just accept the Foundation pills she handed me after all. I'm getting more and more lost trying to figure out what this demonic saintess is actually thinking. But at least I know what to do. I circulate the spirit energy through my body, pull the 100 top-grade spirit stones I earned earlier out of my inner world and say, "Thank you for the Foundation pills earlier. These spirit stones should more than cover their value." Her red lips part slightly. Vesper clearly hadn't expected that someone would suddenly decide to pay for the pills she'd just given him. But she quickly recovers her composure, taking the spirit stones and counting them right in front of me, asking with a curious tone, "Isn't this a bit much?" The words have barely left her mouth when a new quest option surfaces in my mind. Option 1, say it doesn't matter and let her keep it all. Reward, the star-shattering fist, mystic rank low-grade technique. Option 2, ask her to return the extra amount. Reward, the water python scale, yellow rank mid-grade refining material. Option 3, ask whether the leftover spirit stones could buy my freedom, letting me leave. Reward, 1 random attribute point. 5 minutes ago when I proposed using the spirit stones to buy my own freedom, Vesper's eyes lit up and she agreed at once. Now she's alone in the room, turning the top-grade spirit stones over in her hand, murmuring to herself as she does the math. 1 top-grade spirit stone equals 100 high-grade spirit stones, 1 high-grade spirit stone equals 10 mid-grade spirit stones, 1 mid-grade spirit stone equals 10 low-grade spirit stones, and 1 foundation pill costs 50,000 low-grade spirit stones. I gave him 4 of them in total, which means his life is currently worth 80 top-grade spirit stones, 800,000 low-grade spirit stones. So a golden core cultivator's life comes down to about that much, huh? She tucks the spirit stones away into her inner world and gets up to leave the room. Not long after, another attendant walks in from outside. It seems this room actually belongs to her. When she sees the rumpled bedding someone else slept in, instead of any annoyance, she seems pleased, knowing it belonged to that strikingly handsome cultivator kid from the Azure Sun sect. She can't help stepping closer, picking up the pillow and pressing it to her cheek. Knock, knock, knock. Right at that moment, someone raps on the door. For some reason, Vesper has come back to the doorway. Startled, the attendant hastily puts the pillow down and starts stammering an explanation. The saintess doesn't pay any of it much mind. Vesper only leaves her with 1 line. From today on, leave this room empty. Keep everything exactly as it is. Then she walks off with light, easy steps. As for me, having made it out of the tiger's den, the whole way back I can hardly believe it. After such a strange roundabout conversation, she really did just let me walk away that easily. Sure, it cost me 100 top-grade spirit stones. Not a small amount, but she is the saintess of the heaven-deceiving sect after all. Come to think of it, I don't actually know much about how the famously ruthless heaven-deceiving sect usually operates. From what I remember, it's a sect with tremendous depth, one most outsiders dare not even speak of openly. Take our own Azure Sun sect as a comparison. We have over 1,000 disciples, an ancestor at great perfection stage hidden away in the back mountains, several peak lords who've reached great perfection, and more than 20 elders, stewards, and guest cultivators at Dao Union stage altogether, plus 3 outer branch sects spread across a territory of over 3,000 li. And yet, next to the heaven-deceiving sect, we're generally seen as barely worth a single hand swipe. Aunt Mira once specifically warned me to be careful around people from the heaven-deceiving sect. Come to think of it, that reminds me. I still have a fair number of books Aunt Mira left behind in my room, and I recall one of them had a much more detailed account of the heaven-deceiving sect. Just as I think of this, I find myself back at my own wooden cabin on Soaring Cloud Peak in the Azure Sun sect. Working off a somewhat hazy memory, I open the bookshelf tucked away in the corner, long untouched and coated in dust. The book about the heaven-deceiving sect sits right in the middle. The heaven-deceiving sect, no need to follow common reason. Act as the heavens please. Note, their true intentions are often impossible to read. So when meeting anyone from the heaven-deceiving sect, never let their apparent kindness lower your guard. Sometimes they'll betray you with no reason at all. This bolded line beneath it must be Aunt Mira's own handwritten note, the handwriting elegant and detached. As far as I can recall, it's the first time I've ever seen her actual writing. Having read through all this, I finally have a clearer picture of this demonic sect, and I finally start to understand why that heaven-deceiving sect saintess's moods seem so unpredictable. She may truly be stunning, but she's like a rose lined with thorns. One touch, and you're bleeding. Better to keep my distance. I absolutely cannot let myself entertain any illusion that she might be interested in me, or fond of me. Otherwise, I might end up as the next cautionary example written into some book about the heaven-deceiving sect. And being the villain, I'm even more likely to be treated as a special case. The heaven-deceiving sect has 2 sages within its ranks. The sect master is the great sage, and the saintess is the lesser sage. I read the final passage carefully, weighing every word. If I'd read this with no context at all, I might have had a laugh or two at it, but now, I just commit every bit of it to memory, then let out a long breath, and start piecing together everything that's happened since I left the mountain. I ran into plenty of trouble along the way, but I also picked up quite a few hidden gains. Just as I'd vaguely suspected before, the size of a quest option's reward seems to be tied to how difficult the task actually is. But more often than not, I still end up judging purely by the literal wording of the option. Now I can say with near certainty, the plain attribute point reward marks whichever choice is the simplest, safest path forward. As for the higher tier rewards, Heaven, Earth, Mystic, Yellow, Heaven rank and Earth rank, for where I stand right now, the odds of ever actually pulling one off are probably less than 1 in 100,000. As for Mystic rank, I've already claimed several of those from the system, but each time it dragged a whole chain of trouble behind it. And every single time, that trouble seems to trace back to the protagonist Rowan, even the demonic saintess I just mentioned. Setting her aside, Rowan also happened to show up at the Drunken Blossom Pavilion. If he'd been captured too, truly played for a fool, he'd likely have spiraled deeper and deeper into ruin. Following the usual shape these stories take, the entire Azure Sun sect would probably be dragged into some looming crisis as a result, and Rowan, as the protagonist, would inevitably rise to meet it, and that's when I'd have to start playing out my role as the fated great villain, becoming nothing more than his whetstone, his stepping stone, heading straight toward the very fate the system warned me of from the start, perishing and fading from the way, scorned by the whole world in the most miserable ending imaginable. All of this, for now, is just my own guesswork. Still, to stay safe, unless there's some reason I simply can't avoid, I'll probably keep choosing the lowest tier reward from here on out. Beyond that, when the gap in cultivation between me and the protagonist grows too wide, and he stumbles into some great opportunity, whether I, the villain, will really end up passively gaining some fortune of my own from it too, that's something worth watching going forward. Dong dong dong. A morning bell rings out through the clouds, echoing in my ears. I pat my still groggy head, eyes half shut, and start feeling around for my clothes by the bed, still not fully awake. After all, I got less than half an hour of sleep last night. I'd meant to turn in early too, but who could have guessed that the moment I lay down, 3 quest options would suddenly pop up in my mind. Option 1, go out for a walk. Reward, a yellow rank technique, Earth rank low grade. Option 2, stay lying down and sleep. Reward, the Mountain Sage Hammer, yellow rank mid-grade treasure. Option 3, take the foundation pills from my inner world. Successfully break through to foundation establishment. Reward, 1 random attribute point. What in the world is lurking out there that simply stepping outside for a walk earns an Earth rank low-grade reward? Even with plenty of questions running through my head, I only just finished laying out my whole strategy not long ago. So even without fully understanding it, I stick to the plan I'd already set, taking the foundation pills I bought from the demonic saintess and beginning my breakthrough. Even though I'd already brushed against the threshold of foundation establishment, it still isn't a sure, effortless thing yet, so the process eats up plenty of time, which is exactly why I only got to rest for half an hour. As my head gradually clears, I get dressed and washed up quickly, then head for Origin Peak, one of the Azure Sun sect's 12 main peaks, home to the sect's main hall and its cultivation grounds. By the time I arrive, nearly 1,000 disciples have already gathered, murmuring among themselves. As has always been my style, I don't bother paying them any mind. I just keep walking forward, and the ordinary disciples immediately fall silent, clearing a path without a word. Just like that, I stroll leisurely to a spot 3 rows back from the viewing platform. The moment I settle in, a voice with a hint of flattery pipes up beside me. Ren, you always have more sources than most of us. Do you happen to know what's actually going on? I turn to look at whoever's speaking. He's a bit of an odd one, honestly. No notable background to speak of, no especially outstanding cultivation talent either, yet he's managed to stay on good terms with several cultivator kids and often gets FaceTime with the elders. That's how he ended up here. Usually though, he tags along with the son of another elder from the enforcement hall, sticking close by his side. He and I have barely exchanged a word before this. I have no idea why he's coming to me now. Glancing past a few people standing between us, I look over at Colt Marin first, but he doesn't seem to be behaving any differently. So I shake my head and answer in an even, distant tone. I just got here myself. Whatever's going on, the elders will explain it soon enough. Having failed to get a clear answer, Dale Whitmore doesn't push for more small talk. He seems to catch the lack of enthusiasm in my tone. So when he spots Brock and the others slowly approaching, he quickly steps aside to make room, not saying another word the whole time. Brock naturally slides into the spot Dale just vacated. The moment he steps up, he lowers his voice. Ren, did you hear? Late last night, the deputy hall master of the Pill Pavilion almost came to blows with the third elder and the others. Hearing that, I wonder for a second if I heard him wrong. Both of them are deeply respected great perfection cultivators within the sect. What could they possibly have almost fought over? Right now, my mind is full of questions. But I only just finished summing things up a moment ago. So even though I don't fully understand it, I stick to my original plan. I swallow the foundation establishment pill I bought from the saintess. I begin my breakthrough. I've already brushed against the bottleneck of foundation establishment, but I'm not quite at the point where it happens naturally, so it still takes a good while. That's why I only rest for about an hour. As my head clears, I quickly wash up and get dressed. I head for Origin Peak, one of the Azure Sun Sect's 12 main peaks, home to the sect hall and the training square. By the time I arrive, nearly 1,000 disciples have already gathered, murmuring among themselves. True to my usual style, I don't bother with any of them. I just keep walking forward. The ordinary disciples fall silent and clear a path for me. I stroll leisurely to a spot 3 rows back from the viewing platform. The moment I plant my feet, a voice full of flattery reaches my ear. Ren, you always hear things first. Do you know what's going on? I turn to look at the speaker. He's a bit of an odd one, honestly. He has no real background and no outstanding talent to speak of, but he stays on good terms with several elite young disciples and often shows his face in front of the elders. That's how he's earned his place here. Usually, though, he tags along with another disciple, the son of Elder Marin of the Enforcement Hall. Before now, he and I have barely spoken, so I have no idea why he's approaching me now. A few spots away, I glance at Colt first. He shows no unusual reaction, so I just shake my head and reply, tone neither warm nor cold. I just got here too. Whatever it is, the elders will explain it soon enough. Getting no real answer, Dale doesn't push further. He seems to catch the lack of interest in my tone, so when he spots Brock and the others approaching, he quickly gives up his spot without another word, and Brock naturally steps into the space Dale just vacated. The moment he arrives, Brock lowers his voice. Ren, did you hear? Last night the Deputy Hall Master of the Pill Pavilion almost came to blows with the Third Elder. For a second, I wonder if I heard him right. Both of them are great perfection cultivators with decades of seniority in the sect. What could possibly push them that close to a fight? But quickly, Brock lowers his voice further and goes on. Lately that Rowan guy, the one who passed out at Drunken Blossom Pavilion after getting caught up in that mess yesterday, he refined a 3rd grade pill with pill cloud grade quality. You must have heard about already, right? Round and round it goes, and somehow it circles back to the protagonist again. A little resigned, I still nod, not bothering to be coy about it. Brock's face shows a hint of disdain. After that, wasn't he also taken in as a nominal disciple by the Deputy Hallmaster? And now he's stirred up a whole pill-refining craze across the entire Azure Sun sect. Think about it, a sect this big, if most people go off chasing alchemy, what happens to the intersect tournament in half a year? My uncle, the 5th Elder, has brought it up more than once. Yesterday, the 3rd Elder happened to run into the Deputy Hallmaster, and they must have argued out exactly this. That's why it nearly turned into a fight. If Brock hadn't reminded me, I honestly would have forgotten that in 3 months, there's an internal sect tournament coming up, and its top 10 will go on to represent the sect in the intersect tournament. Following that logic, there's at least a plausible reason for the two of them to clash. Meanwhile, up on the viewing platform ahead, every sect elder has gathered except the Grand Elder, who remains in seclusion. The 3rd Elder that Brock just mentioned now stands on the platform, sweeping his gaze across the 1,000-strong crowd in the square. Then, carried by spiritual energy, every word of his rings clearly in everyone's ears. Starting today, for the next 3 months, the top 20 outer disciples ranked by contribution points will be promoted directly to inner disciple, receiving 1,000 high-grade spirit stones and their choice of 1 high-grade yellow rank technique. Inner disciples must form their own teams and go out on training expeditions, with an overseer accompanying each team to record and evaluate performance. Earning 3 Grade A evaluations grants direct access to the 2nd floor of the Scripture Hall or the 2nd floor of the Spirit Treasure Hall to choose a reward. Repeated Grade C- evaluations will result in demotion back to Outer Disciple. Right now, 3 quest options flash before me. Option 1. Step forward and voice my support loudly. Reward, the Purple Sun Scripture, a high-grade mystic rank technique. Option 2. Stay right where I am. Reward, the Shadow Windclaw, a low-grade mystic rank artifact. Option 3. Without being noticed, quietly retreat to a corner of the square. Reward, 1 random attribute point. In the training square, on the left side of the 4th row, Iris, who's been carefully weighing what kind of team to join, happens to notice me stepping backward, a flicker of confusion crossing her eyes as they land on me without her even meaning to. She watches as I retreat all the way to a corner of the square before finally stopping. Why would I do that? For a moment, Iris's mind drifts back to all my strange behavior since that night, and she genuinely wonders whether any of it has anything to do with her. She'd even tried following me once before, though she doesn't dwell on that memory now. Just as she recalls seeing everyone walk into Drunken Blossom Pavilion, she snaps back to the present and finds herself meeting my very telling gaze. She quickly plays it off, pretending not to care, and turns her head away. My attribute point? I groaned silently, wincing at the loss. I'd carefully retreated to that corner just now, but the reward never came. Option 3 had a condition. Without being noticed, quietly retreat to a corner of the square. Reward 1 random attribute point. That precondition, without being noticed, I don't think I overlooked it. Everyone was absorbed in whatever the 3rd Elder had just announced. I even used a bit of movement technique, tapping into the body attributes mortal grade tier 2 ability, flowing like a dragon, to slip through the crowd without a sound. Even Brock, standing right next to me, didn't notice a thing. So who would have guessed I'd get caught out by Iris of all people? By all rights, shouldn't she have been more focused on the third elder's announcement? Why was she looking back at me? And almost the very instant that thought crosses my mind, a booming, forceful voice suddenly cuts through the square. I object. That single line jolts the whole crowd back to attention, shocked that anyone would dare stand up in front of everyone and openly defy the elder's decision. Must be out of their mind, is the thought most disciples don't dare finish out loud, because they see the Deputy Hall Master of the Pill Pavilion, along with Elder Bramwell of the same hall, striding straight up onto the platform. It immediately clicks. That objection came from the Deputy Hall Master himself. Sweeping his own gaze over the 1,000-strong crowd, Deputy Hall Master Thal continues. Lately, the Pill Pavilion has already been short-staffed. Our pill reserves barely cover daily needs. If outer disciples keep taking on missions to rack up contribution points and inner disciples all head out on expeditions, where exactly is this overloaded demand for pills supposed to come from? And on top of that, the once-a-decade alchemy convention is only 8 months away. The Pill Pavilion needs to start preparing early, and we won't have time to fill on-demand orders. After all, the convention's rewards are extraordinary. Even the top 5 in the Disciple Division will receive a mid-grade Emperor rank cultivation method. At that last line, a wave of gasps sweeps through the crowd, hearts racing. An Emperor rank cultivation method, a method of that caliber is said to visibly raise a cultivator's very aptitude. Brow slightly furrowed, the third elder takes in the crowd's reaction and immediately sends a voice transmission to Thal. Old Thal, isn't this a bit much? Too much? Yesterday, when you first brought this up, I already made my objection clear, and yet today, you go and announce it in front of the entire sect anyway. Did you even consider how the Pill Pavilion feels about this? The sect tournament can't afford to fail, but the decades-spanning alchemy convention shouldn't be taken lightly either. The two great perfection cultivators trade barbs back and forth. Meanwhile, Elder Bramwell of the Pill Pavilion scans the training square, as if searching for someone in particular. Seeing that, my stomach tightens. I think I understand why the system threw those options at me earlier, why the simplest, most direct move was to quietly retreat. This is another trap left behind by a quest option I completed earlier. Option 2, Karma Point. 1. Because the Pill Pavilion is short-staffed, someone extra needs to gather herbs. Reward, the compendium of 100 herbs, a mid-grade mystic rank text. A few days ago, while gathering herbs, I must have already caught Elder Bramwell's eye, though in the end, he got pulled away because the protagonist had refined that pill cloud-grade pill and left early. Now it looks like he's searching for someone suitable to step up right now and say a few more words on the Pill Pavilion's behalf. And honestly, I'd be a pretty obvious first choice. Up on the platform, Elder Bramwell finishes his sweep of the crowd, a hint of confusion crossing his face. That day while gathering herbs, he'd noticed something, that the one everyone else saw as a spoiled elite disciple, Ren Ashford, actually has an impressive eye for herbs. That's usually a telltale sign of real alchemical talent. On top of that, I seemed genuinely interested in alchemy, otherwise why would I have bothered with something as menial as herb gathering? So he'd thought, at a moment like this, to give me a chance to shine, and naturally draw me into the Pill Pavilion. But instead, I'm nowhere to be found. Without digging further into why, Elder Bramwell turns to another promising young alchemist instead. Percy, he says, tell me, between the third elder and the deputy hallmaster, who makes the more reasonable point? Called on like that, Percy, the inner disciple, visibly freezes for a second, and senses faintly that the third elder shoots him a glance. Even though Elder Bramwell's tone had promised him plenty of cover, how could he dare be the one to stick his neck out on this? But now, singled out by a Pill Pavilion elder, he can't just pretend not to hear it. After weighing it back and forth several times, he finally forces himself to speak up. This disciple believes both the third elder and the deputy hallmaster have valid points. The intersect tournament is a showcase of our sect's overall strength. It will shape how certain shared resources get allocated going forward, and the importance of pills to every cultivator goes without saying. The alchemy convention is likewise a great gathering for alchemists to exchange knowledge. Percy's explanation drags on. All right, Percy, that's enough. You may step back. For a moment, an uncomfortably heavy silence settles over the square, but it doesn't last long. A voice, thin and a little unsteady, rings out from not far away. Elders, I have something to say. Everyone turns toward the voice at once. There stands a figure in thin white robes, his face still pale. It's no one other than the one who, not long ago, refined that pill cloud grade pill, Rowan. This disciple believes both the third elder and the deputy hallmaster have valid points. The intersect tournament is a showcase of our sect's overall strength. His opening lines are almost word for word what Percy already said. Standing off in a far corner of the square, I already anticipate that this whole standoff over the sect tournament and the alchemy convention is about to wrap up, because it's the protagonist speaking now. Just as I shift my weight to lean against a nearby stone pillar, a clear, oddly familiar voice drifts into my ear. You know, I think you're actually a lot stronger than him. It hits me like a splash of cold water. I straighten up at once and spin around, and there she is, the heaven-deceiving sex saintess, standing there looking effortlessly striking. There was no one else here when I arrived. How in the world did this witch get in? My calm mind scrambles instantly, but I still remember to angle my body slightly, trying to block her from view, even though it's a completely useless gesture. Still, I do it on instinct. Blinking, the saintess watches everything I do, curiosity in her eyes. You seem awfully worried about your sect elder spotting me. Hearing that, I actually want to say, if it would really get her caught red-handed, I wouldn't mind one bit. But given the situation, if I suddenly shouted that the heaven-deceiving sex saintess is right here, don't let her get away, there's a 99% chance I'd be the one who ends up in trouble. Ignoring her comment, I switch the subject entirely. Voice lowered, I ask, what are you doing here? Mimicking my tone, voice just as quiet, the saintess answers, came to see you. There's no going anywhere with a conversation like that. I sigh inwardly. And right then, 3 quest options appear in my mind. Option 1. Keep dancing around the situation with the saintess right here. Reward, the wind and cloud step, a low-grade emperor rank movement technique. Option 2. Find a way to make her leave. Reward, the spirit marrow elixir, low-grade emperor rank. Option 3. Offer on my own to take her around for a bit. Reward, 1 random attribute point. 2 low-grade emperor rank rewards. Seeing that, my chest tightens. Based on everything I've learned about how these quest options work, I can already guess this witch is about to pull something ridiculous. So without wasting more time, I speak up, tone resigned. Well, since you're here, want to walk around with me for a bit? The saintess had already been half set on leaving, but at those words, she pauses for a moment, surprised, then nods with a sweet smile. Sure, quest complete. Reward, 1 attribute point. And so, in a corner no one else pays any mind to, I walk off with 1 very unstable variable in tow. More than an hour later, exactly as I expected, the whole matter of the tournament and the alchemy convention resolves itself without incident. Brock and the others simply assume I found the whole thing too dull and slipped away early. Among every disciple there, only Iris saw me quietly retreat to that corner of the square. Afterward, she also noticed Elder Bramwell glancing repeatedly at the spot where I'd been standing, and putting that together with Percy being called out to answer questions, her suspicions only grow. But later, when she glances toward that corner again without meaning to, I'm already gone, for reasons she can't explain. On a tree-shaded path, the saintess doesn't push for anything else outrageous. For now, she just skips along, 1 step at a time, over the soft fallen leaves, a faint rustle following her. Honestly, if I hadn't already drilled the words heaven-deceiving sex saintess firmly into my mind, and if I didn't keep reminding myself of the sect's old rumors and history from time to time, well, neither of us speaks first. We just walk side by side. But this strange, particular calm is broken the instant 2 more quest options flash into my mind. Option 1. Keep things as they are. Reward, the Illustrated Codex, a mid-grade mystic rank text. Option 2. Head to Spirit Leaf Peak and help Iris out of a bind. Reward, 1 random attribute point. Wait, what does that mean? I understand both descriptions perfectly well. One is to keep walking here with the saintess beside me. The other means that right now, at this very moment, Iris is caught up in some kind of trouble and needs someone to step in. But when I put the 2 together, my whole head goes numb. I'm supposed to be the villain. How did I end up torn between 2 dilemmas at once? If my read on this has been right so far, heading to Spirit Leaf Peak is clearly the simplest, most direct move. Can I really just leave the saintess here without a second thought? Would that really cause no trouble at all? How am I even supposed to choose? After a lot of back and forth, I know I can't afford to waste any more time, and I finally force myself to a decision. Option 2. Right now at Spirit Leaf Peak, one of the Azure Sun Sect's 12 main peaks and also where most of the elders cultivate and live, the last time I came here was that night chasing after a treasure, though it ended in failure. A half step behind me, the saintess glances left and right, seeming more interested in the scenery along the way. Noticing this, my mind is a bit of a mess. 15 minutes ago, when I decided on option 2 and told her I'd suddenly remembered something urgent that required a trip to Spirit Leaf Peak, she just nodded, no objection, but she stayed right behind me this whole time, impossible to shake. Honestly, if I didn't know I'd lose to her outright, I genuinely want to tie her up with rope right now. For now, all I can do is hope the system's quest doesn't screw me over. Following the route from memory, I find myself already at the foot of Spirit Leaf Peak. Then, because my current attribute panel has my ears attribute far above average, a cold, clear voice reaches my ears. Colt, I have no intention of joining any team right now. I turn toward the voice and spot a circle of people gathered in the distance. This must be the trouble Iris has run into. Even without seeing the scene up close, going by that one line I just heard, I can piece together the gist of it. No more hesitating. Witch trailing behind me or not, I walk straight over and tap the shoulder of the disciple standing at the outer edge of the crowd. "Who's there?" he snaps, a little annoyed, turning around, but the moment he recognizes me, his attitude does a complete 180. He quickly steps aside, stammering under his breath, "Ren, I didn't realize it was you." With that, he hurriedly taps the shoulder of the person in front of him, who's likewise annoyed at first at being interrupted, but the second he spots me, he falls right into the same pattern, tapping the shoulder of whoever's in front of him, and so it continues on down the line. The crowd parts on its own, clearing me a straight path right to the center. Some of them are seething but don't dare say a word. A few had even wanted to stand up for Iris, but knowing that would mean facing off against two elite young disciples at once, they hesitate, unsure what to do. But others don't feel wronged in the slightest. Quite the opposite. Since it's practically common knowledge that I'm pursuing Iris, their appetite for watching the drama unfold only grows stronger. "No one else is going to dare team up with you but me." I've barely reached the open space at the center when I catch that threatening line. Casually, I answer on her behalf. "Says who?" In just 2 short lines, the air is already thick with tension, and everyone's eyes start darting back and forth between Colt and me. Even the ones fuming on Iris's behalf can't help sizing up which of us is really the stronger one. One of us is backed by a great perfection cultivator at Peak Realm, the guest elder who's the sole exception granted exclusive claim to Soaring Cloud Peak, though that elder has been away for a full year now, seeking a breakthrough opportunity. The other's father, meanwhile, is the one who handles every dispute within the sect, the Enforcement Hall Elder, with formidable combat strength and sweeping authority. On paper, at least, the two of us don't seem too far apart. Standing in the middle of the clearing, Colt's eyes darken for a moment, never having expected me to show up right now. Part of him wants to throw down a few harsh words, or even settle it with a duel outright, but when he remembers his father's warning, never provoke the person that elder brought back. Even with this many people watching, he has to swallow the urge and change his tone. "Oh, it's you, Ren. I thought you'd already left. Oh, never mind. If it's you and Iris teaming up, that's gotta be the perfect match in the whole Azure Sun sect." To everyone listening, it sounds sarcastic at first, since they'd all just been comparing the two of us, both elite young disciples, as roughly evenly matched. But the tone, the expression, people start to realize the Enforcement Hall Elder's son just backed down that fast. Quest complete. Reward, 1 attribute point. Seeing it come through, I understand too. Whatever's really going on in his head, at least he won't be causing Iris any more trouble for now. The moment that thought settles, 3 more options appear in my mind. Option 1, take Iris and walk away. Reward, the Binding Hoop, high-grade mystic rank artifact. Option 2, Karma Bound, state clearly that I won't team up with Iris, and that I just can't stand to see him bullying someone. Reward, the White Rainbow Secret Art, mid-grade mystic rank. Option 3, tell Colt directly, my business isn't yours to weigh in on, who I team up with is none of your concern. Reward, 1 random attribute point. Reading through all 3, I'm more convinced than ever that Iris is the female lead, or at least one of them. Option 1 essentially confirms what Colt just said, that Iris and I really are a perfect match. If I go that route, I'll probably run into no small amount of trouble down the line, especially where the protagonist Rowan is concerned. Option 2 clearly states I won't team with Iris, but that's not the simplest, most direct route either. Is it that second half? Just can't stand to see him bullying someone? That gets me on Colt's bad side? That doesn't add up either. Option 3's phrasing is clearly even more dismissive of him. I can't work out the logic for now, but what needs doing still needs doing. Face flat, I say it outright. My business isn't yours to weigh in on. Who I team up with is none of your concern. Colt had already worked hard to put on a conciliatory smile, and the second those words land, his expression just freezes. The onlookers around us can't help but gape too, never expecting Colt to get thoroughly outmatched and then have someone grind the boot in further. As for me, I've already gotten my system reward, quest complete, 1 mouth attribute point. Besides, throwing my weight around as an elite disciple isn't exactly new to me, though someone with backing like Colt's is a first. Still, from what I remember, none of the other elite disciples or ordinary overseers in this sect ever mattered much to me anyway. So I gesture for Iris to follow, and the two of us walk away together, leaving behind a stunned crowd and a Colt with an aching chest. An hour ago, I was walking shoulder to shoulder with the Witch Sect Saintess down a tree-shaded path. An hour later, Iris is beside me instead. We aren't talking much either, but something still feels off. A few more minutes pass, and I finally can't help but speak up. This looks like the path down the mountain, huh? As if just snapping back to reality, Iris glances at the spirit trees on either side and realizes she's nearly walked clean off Spirit Leaf Peak. She stops abruptly, pauses a moment longer, then says, "Thank you for helping me back there." I wave a hand to show I've heard her, and without wasting more time, I keep walking. The two of us part ways, clean and simple, except Iris, on her end, doesn't turn to leave right away. She doesn't quite know why, but she lingers there a little longer, watching my retreating back, a little lost in thought. Then she sees a striking woman walk right up to me, and the two of us fall into what looks like an easy, familiar conversation. So was this why I'd left early that other time? She was probably there the whole time too. Then, the thought has barely crossed Iris's mind when the woman actually turns and winks at her, as if saying hello. In that moment, Iris has no idea how to react. In the end, she turns and walks off, her steps not entirely steady. That urgent matter earlier, don't tell me it was playing hero for a damsel in distress? The saintess glances once more at the path the pretty young disciple just left by, the corner of her mouth curling up as she turns back to me. My heart jumps straight into my throat. I'd been so busy chasing that quest option that I nearly forgot the excuse I'd used in the first place. Still, I hadn't expected the saintess to stay quiet through the whole thing without causing any trouble at all. Working hard to keep my expression neutral, I'm just about to open my mouth and try to talk my way around it. But the saintess doesn't press the point. Instead, she changes the subject on her own. You know, you're actually pretty interesting. Earlier, in the square, when I said you were no less than the guy up on that platform, you didn't react at all. No trace of resentment, no trace of ambition. That's different from every guy I've dealt with before. Most of them at best just bury what they really think, but you genuinely don't care to compete. Right now, I really want to tell her. I did compete, thank you very much. But when your opponent is the protagonist, and you lose over and over with no way forward, you learn to just check out. As for resentment, that's genuinely pointless. As long as I end up safely fading into background character obscurity, I'm satisfied. But in the end, I say none of it, because there are some things I simply can't tell anyone else. Especially when the person in question is the heaven-deceiving sex saintess. While I'm silently ranting to myself, the saintess suddenly wrinkles her nose and, without meaning to, sneezes several times in a row. After the sneezing fit, she looks a little dazed. Watching her, I catch myself just about to think, that's kinda cute, and immediately shove that ridiculous thought right back down, wiping the expression off my face before it even shows. Pouting slightly, the saintess can't figure out why she suddenly sneezed at all. Given her cultivation level, catching a cold from a chill shouldn't even be possible. That's the kind of ailment mortals get. Still, without dwelling on it too much, she picks the thread back up. Also, helping that pretty junior back there, why didn't you have a single ulterior motive the entire time? Are you just not that into it? I'd literally just been telling myself not to fall for surface-level temptations. But the moment she says that, I can't quite hold it together. What does she mean, not into it? Lately, the two women I've dealt with most are either a possible female lead or the heaven-deceiving sex saintess, and each of them is more dangerous than the last. If I'm being honest, in my mind, Iris is actually the one I need to be more careful around. I could let other things slide, but this touches on something personal, so I cut her off. Don't say things like that. Before I can finish, 3 quest options flash into my mind. Option 1. Keep arguing with the saintess. Reward the relic talisman mid-grade sovereign rank. Option 2. Shut up and stay silent. Reward the relic talisman mid-grade sovereign rank. Option 3. Raise my guard and release spiritual energy in advance. Reward 1 random attribute point. Wait, why are the rewards for option 1 and 2 identical? No, that's not what matters right now. What matters is that this witch is definitely about to pull something. Not daring to lose focus, I immediately channel every ounce of spiritual energy in my body. Right at that instant, a spirit falcon bursts out from the roadside, and in the blur of its passing, a cloud of yellow powder sprays outward in a wide arc, right toward where I'm standing. At Shuai Refinement, a cultivator can only draw heaven and earth spiritual energy inward and convert it into internal power. At Foundation Establishment, the Dantian turns liquid, and spiritual energy can be released outward again. Thankfully, the system warned me in advance. A barrier snaps into place in front of me, blocking every last speck of that yellow powder. It's only now that I finally understand why I was pushed to break through to Foundation Establishment so early last night, and just how thoroughly you cannot judge this witch by ordinary logic. 1 second we're chatting away like nothing's wrong, the next, right when I fully let my guard down, she pulls something like this. You're already at Foundation Establishment? A hint of surprise in the saintess's voice, but when she sees my face darken, she mutters a quick defense. Well, it's your fault. I offered to guard your breakthrough that day and you turned me down. Hearing that, I freeze for a moment, then recall the quest option from back then. Option 1, sit down and attempt the breakthrough to Foundation Establishment right away. Reward, 9-star convergence, a low-grade Emperor rank sword manual. Back then, she'd handed me a few Foundation Establishment pills, and this low-grade Emperor rank reward followed. Compared to trusting the saintess, I'll always trust the system's judgment more. If I'd actually sat down to attempt the breakthrough right there, I'd have almost certainly ended up spun around her little finger even worse. Right now, I want to take back what I thought earlier about Iris being the one to watch out for more. This witch right in front of me is still by far the bigger headache. By now, the yellow powder has already dispersed. Seeing that I still haven't said anything, the saintess ventures, are you mad? Honestly, I am a little irritated at first, but thinking it through, the other 2 options had rewards of mid-grade yellow rank, so by that logic, that yellow powder probably isn't anything life-threatening. Compared to our first meeting, or even earlier today when Emperor rank rewards kept popping up left and right, this is actually a step down. And more importantly, I don't have any real way to retaliate anyway, so any anger I feel just ends up bottled inside. All I can do is ask, resigned, what was that powder? Itching powder, completely harmless, washes right off. Just a guess of mine. As the leaves fall in the evening light and the moon rises over the branches, I finally managed to send the saintess on her way. It occurs to me that it was only right before she left that I even learned the witch's name, Vesper. Rubbing my throbbing temples, I figure I'll just take things one step at a time from here. Right after, a few lines of information appear in my mind. Protagonist Rowan, cultivation, early stage foundation establishment, could break through to mid-stage at any moment. Karma points, 21. Another brief report on the protagonist. These show up regularly enough by now that I've almost gotten used to them. Just as I'm about to brush past it though, 3 more quest options follow right behind it. Option 1, quickly pick out a team of foundation establishment cultivators with strong aptitude and join up with them. Reward, 100 spirits body technique, high-grade mystic rank. Option 2, team up with Brock and the others. Reward, true heart manual, high-grade mystic rank. Option 3, at noon tomorrow, join Rowan and Iris's team. Reward, 1 random attribute point. Having read through all the options, I realize I might have skimmed past something important, so I go back and skim through the protagonist's brief report more carefully. This evening, harboring resentment, Colt sent someone to deliberately cause trouble for Iris. The protagonist Rowan stepped in to help, and through a stroke of fortunate coincidence ended up forming a team with Iris. The system doesn't spell out the exact details, but I can basically guess that the reason the two of them formally teamed up must trace back to Colt, indirectly. And there's my own hand in it too. If I hadn't stepped in to help Iris earlier and, in front of everyone, thoroughly humiliated Colt, none of this probably would have happened. But maybe that's not entirely fair to say either. Since they're the male and female leads, even without this particular incident, they'd probably have ended up teaming up for some other reason anyway. The more I think about it, the more my head starts to spin, tangled up trying to work out the exact order of cause and effect. I let out a slow breath, clear my mind completely for a moment, then shake my head and start analyzing from scratch. First, the male and female leads teaming up is exactly what the story's usual arc calls for. That much should be settled from the start. Me stepping in without leaving Colt any face was simply the system's simplest solution, and that, in turn, pushed Colt toward a more extreme move, which ultimately led the leads to team up in exactly this way. That's the end result. As for why the simplest route right now has become joining Rowan and Iris's team, that makes sense too. Because between one team and another, conflicts of interest could crop up at any time. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is often the safest one. As long as I join the team and just keep coasting per the system's guidance, the edge is mine. Right now, at Raven Sky Peak, in the Azure Sun Sex Path Hall, this is where disciples usually get their missions assigned by the Overseers. After Rowan and Iris have written down both their names one after the other, Overseer Song waits a moment, and seeing no one else speak up, looks up and asks, "That's it? By the rules, a team needs at least 3 members." Rubbing his nose, Rowan is well aware of that already. He weighs his words carefully, and finally ventures. "Right now it's just the 2 of us. Is there any way to—" "Rules are rules. At least 3 people, no more than 5 per team. It's meant to help train inner disciples in teamwork." Normally a situation like this would flatly not be allowed, but Overseer Song feels the young man in front of him look strangely familiar, and it suddenly clicks. This is the very disciple who recently refined that legendary Pill Cloud Great Elixir. Ordinarily, he doesn't pay much attention to what happens among the sect's disciples, but this particular story had spread far enough that even he'd caught wind of it, which nudges his opinion of Rowan a little higher. He decides to look the other way. I can write it down as is, but whether it gets approved is another matter entirely. Sensing the Overseer soften a little, Rowan nods eagerly. "That's fine, thank you for your trouble." The Overseer sets pen back to paper, marking a note beside the 2 names, and is just about to call the next person forward, when right at that moment, a voice suddenly rings out. "Rowan, Iris, since your team's short a member, count me in." The familiar voice makes it obvious to everyone who it is before they even turn to look. Just yesterday, I'd thoroughly humiliated Colt, the Enforcement Hall Elder's son, and even though I hadn't explicitly announced anything at the time, everyone already understood. As the most notoriously overbearing elite disciple in the sect, I was never going to just stand by and watch Iris team up with anyone else. Of course, some in the crowd are plenty resentful about it too, but whatever they're thinking, their eyes all instinctively drift toward Iris and me. An eyebrow raised slightly, I don't bother commenting on the way everyone's watching this like a show, but I do meet each of their stares one by one, until the crowd that had been waiting eagerly for what happens next suddenly decides either to leave quickly or to busy themselves with whatever they were doing before. In an instant, nobody dares gawk anymore. Iris notices the subtle shift in the atmosphere of the path hall. Honestly, whether or not she becomes the center of attention, and whatever anyone else thinks, has never been something she cares much about. It's just that this gives her one more small, different impression of me. Earlier yesterday, she'd already tried registering by herself, hoping to form a solo team, only to be told that wasn't allowed. Later, when Rowan stepped in to help and offered to team up, she'd had no better option and hadn't given the offer much thought, so she'd agreed. Now, adding one more person to the team, as long as it isn't the old version of me, or someone like Colt, then honestly, while Rowan still seems to be hesitating, Iris speaks up first. I'm fine with it. That would also meet the headcount requirement. Seeing Iris state her position first, Rowan, though still a little hesitant, goes along with it aloud. Then, Overseer, please add one more member to our team. Karma point +1. The Overseer looks up, glancing back and forth across the three of our faces. Something about this still feels off to him. Every registration he's seen before now has been groups of 3 or 5 friends forming a team together. But these 3... He gives a small shake of his head. These little details aren't really his concern anyway. After confirming my name and finishing the team's registration in the ledger, he only offers one piece of advice. A team needs a certain amount of coordination. If the 3 of you aren't very familiar with each other yet, you might want to sit down for a meal together, get to know one another first. Then he goes back to the next task in front of him. Quest complete. Reward, 1 mouth attribute point. Registration finished. The 3 of us head out of the path hall one after another. After a moment's thought, Rowan decides the Overseer's advice made sense. Seeing neither of us say anything, he speaks up first. Why don't we get a meal together? Go over the basics, like what each of us is good at. It really would help with the expedition later. A flicker of thought crosses Iris's eyes, and then she offers, there's a new restaurant in Willow City called Drunken Blossom Pavilion. We could go there. Drunken Blossom Pavilion. Isn't that the exact place where Iris had followed me and then turned and left? Why would you bring that place up now? Wait, actually that's not the important part right now. The real problem is that the owner behind Drunken Blossom Pavilion is the heaven-deceiving sex saintess. I've been telling myself over and over to stay on guard against that witch, to keep my distance, and now this is basically walking right into her hands. Thinking that through, I'm about to speak up and gently decline. But at the very same moment, 3 options appear in my mind. Option 1, object, and suggest somewhere else instead. Reward, Flying Echo, mid-grade mystic rank artifact. Option 2, claim I have somewhere else to be and skip it entirely. Reward, Tricolor Stone, high-grade sovereign rank refining material. Option 3, agree to the plan. Reward, 1 random attribute point. Looks like whatever I do, trying to dodge this isn't really an option. Since there's no getting out of it, I might as well face it head on. Setting aside my reservations, I say honestly, Drunken Blossom Pavilion. I actually know that place pretty well. It really does have good conditions all around. Reward, 1 body attribute point. Well, in for a penny. Leading the way, I guide the other 2 to Drunken Blossom Pavilion. Blossom Pavilion, and whether it's because the witch had given some kind of instruction beforehand, every attendant we meet is unusually warm and welcoming. This time, the private room doesn't have that sudden, jarring demonic music from before. Instead, right from the start, it's an elegant melody, gentle as a spring stream, refreshing to the soul. That too makes me let out a small breath of relief. As long as nothing else goes wrong, for a simple meal, this place really is about as good a choice as it gets. But of course, whatever you're afraid of tends to happen anyway. At a short knock on the door, someone walks in carrying a tray of dishes, and my whole body goes rigid on instinct. How could I possibly have guessed that the heaven-deceiving sect saintess herself, the owner of Drunken Blossom Pavilion, would actually dress up as a serving maid just to wait on us personally? There's even something happening here that I don't know about, the fact that the saintess has already crossed paths with Iris before. It was only the briefest moment, the 2 of them exchanging a single glance, but right now, Iris instantly recognizes this maid as the same woman I'd been seen with that day. Still, she doesn't say a word, just sits quietly, and the whole room settles into a strangely heavy silence. Meanwhile, as the only true outsider to all this, Rowan, the protagonist, had only ended up here by accident last time and never actually got to taste the food. Seeing that neither of us seems inclined to pick up our chopsticks, he assumes we're just being reserved, and tries to liven the mood himself. I think we can eat as the food comes. Ren, didn't you just say this place's food and drink are top-notch? A faint smile on her face, the saintess steps over to my side and sets down the dish in her hands, introducing it with perfect composure. That's right, take this dish for instance, sweet and sour spirit jade fish made with fish drawn straight from the forbidden spirit jade lake, absolutely fresh. It's fried first over high heat, then coated in a sweet and sour glaze and simmered slowly until the sauce thickens, silky and tender in texture. Last time young Master Ashford visited, this was his favorite dish. Credit where it's due, that description is genuinely professional, and it immediately gets Rowan's appetite going. As for me though, I barely register a word the witch just said, too focused on watching for whatever outrageous thing she might do next. In the end though, once the saintess sets down all the dishes and turns to leave, nothing else happens. But just then, Iris speaks up. The dishes you brought seem to be more than what we ordered. This tofu dish, for instance, we never ordered it. For a maid whose entire job is serving food, a mistake like that shouldn't happen. There are more dishes than expected, I note with a quick glance. Indeed, 2 extra dishes beyond what the 2 of them had ordered. Normally, bringing something like this up wouldn't be an issue at all, but right now, every extra minute the witch spends in this room is 1 more minute of risk. So I get ready to step in and cover for her. But before I can even get a word out, the Saintess's face shows a flicker of apology. You're right, that was careless of me. Hearing that, I freeze for a moment, thrown off. I can't quite process why the witch has suddenly changed her tune, but right after, when she continues, I realize I've simply overthought it. I forgot to mention while bringing the food out. Since young Master Ashford is an old acquaintance of our owner, the owner specifically asked us to send out a few extra signature dishes, on the house. Paired with her utterly sincere tone as she says it, for a moment, even knowing her real identity, I'm nearly fooled by the sheer skill of her act. But to put this whole exchange to rest, I have no choice but to play along. I do happen to know the owner of Drunken Blossom Pavilion, actually. I just didn't expect this kind of treatment on this visit. Iris doesn't say anything more about it. On her end, the Saintess gives a small bow and steps back out of the room, while I quietly let out a breath, relieved the whole thing passed without real damage. But not long after, the witch is back in the private room again, carrying in another 4 or 5 new dishes, setting them deliberately right in front of one particular person, me. Then, back and forth, another 4 or 5 dishes follow. By this point, the food piled up in front of me alone has stacked 3 layers deep, while in front of Iris there are only 1 or 2 dishes. Even someone blind could spot this kind of favoritism, and because of it, I can't just sit still. Hey, is this some kind of deliberate arrangement? Shaking her head, the Saintess lowers it slightly and murmurs, that was also the owner's specific request. We maids just follow orders. The so-called owner, of course, is the witch herself, which means she's doing this on purpose blatantly. Sensing the mood is about to go tense again, I start redistributing the plates in front of me across the rest of the table, explaining as I go. I appreciate the owner's generosity, but this way of arranging it is just too strange. Meanwhile, as some of the redistributed dishes reach her, Iris, not entirely sure why herself, breaks character and actually thanks me directly. Then she looks up at the Saintess, and their eyes meet for a moment. A brief flicker crosses her expression, but the Saintess recovers her composure quickly, leaving with one last effortlessly natural line. All the dishes have been served. Enjoy your meal. With that, she leaves the room. This whole string of little incidents does dampen the mood for a while, but once we actually taste the food and wine on the table, conversation gradually loosens up again. The food at Drunken Blossom Pavilion really is exceptional. No wonder the place does such booming business. After just a few bites, Rowan already fully appreciates how good it is. But of course he hasn't forgotten why we're here. He soon steers things back on track. Since the 3 of us will be training together going forward, we should probably introduce ourselves. I'll start. I can sometimes refine pills to pill cloud grade. When it comes to Rowan, the protagonist, I know him better than anyone. The system regularly puts his full attribute panel right in front of me. Take for example the fact that the spiritual energy he needs during cultivation is several times what an ordinary cultivator requires, which makes every breakthrough harder for him. But once he reaches a given realm, he tends to become effectively unrivaled within it, even capable of taking on opponents a full stage above him. Or take another example. He carries a vial of wood spirit elixir on him, and just a few drops are enough to speed up a medicinal herb's maturation, adding decades of potency in an instant, probably the main source of the base materials he uses for alchemy. Right now, though, everything he's just said conveniently leaves out every one of those details. Still, that's understandable enough. Once Rowan finishes his brief introduction, Iris speaks up second. Aside from regular cultivation, I've also picked up some medicine and formation arts. Right now I can set up a low-grade mystic rank formation, good against... Before Iris can even finish her sentence, a knock sounds at the door and all 3 of us stop talking at once. At my word of permission, the person who enters is once again the Saintess disguised as a maid. She pokes her head in cautiously, as though worried about disturbing our mood, but forces herself to say, "Young Master Ashford, in the next room, young Master Brock and the others are asking for you." Whether or not that's actually true, I decide it's better to step out for a moment and get things straight with the witch. So I give a quick nod and step out of the room. "So which room are Brock and the others in exactly?" I ask, looking at the witch standing there, not bothering to hide my irritation. "They're not here at all, are they? You already figured that out, didn't you?" Even though she'd flat out lied, the Saintess still looks entirely unbothered about it, and then she suddenly changes tack, asking instead, "You're heading out on your expedition in a few days, right?" I nod, no point hiding that from her anyway. "That Rowan and the pretty junior, they're both on your team then?" I just nod again, offering nothing more. Whose idea was it to eat at Drunken Blossom Pavilion? Iris. My answer is as brief as possible, from the very start getting caught out, all the way to today, with her pulling one stunt after another, especially fitting several twists into a single meal's worth of time. And now getting tricked yet again, Just a few exchanges in, I suddenly feel like whatever tolerance I had left is completely spent. Even knowing full well she's the heaven-deceiving sex saintess, with our power gap far too wide for me to do anything about. Deep down, I've already started thinking of her as nothing more than a rose with a skull underneath. Someone to keep at arm's length, not to get drawn into. I just want to get through this without complication. After a few more questions, the saintess seems to fall quiet herself. This time, I'm the one to speak, tone flat. Anything else? Her smile seems a little strained now. Actually, yes. Young Master Brock and his friends came up here a moment ago, curious about who was in Heaven Room 1 since it's usually off limits. One of our staff mentioned you were inside and they've been asking to see you. They're in Earth Room 6 now. You can go over. Sensing I might not believe her, she adds one more line. This time it's the truth. I'm not lying to you. I don't know why, but hearing her say that as she turns and walks off on her own, something in me softens a little against my better judgment. With a quiet sigh, my head's still a mess, and I instinctively start to turn back toward our private room. But just as I'm about to push the door open, I realize I should probably check on Brock and the others first. Shaking my head, I head straight for Earth Room 6 instead, and then, walking in completely unprepared, I find that I don't recognize a single person inside. I smack my own forehead, thoroughly disappointed in myself. I'd sworn to myself to stay guarded, and the moment she softened just a little, played it just right, all my resolve caved instantly. Rose with a skull underneath, rose with a skull underneath, rose with a skull underneath, I mutter under my breath, hardening my resolve again. I'm done letting myself get dragged along. From now on I need to keep my distance and stay cold, so the witch loses interest in me as soon as possible. After drilling that thought into my head a few more times, I start walking back down the hallway. But right at that moment, the door to Earth Room 5 suddenly opens, and out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of the guests inside. It's actually Brock and the others. So the witch wasn't lying to me after all? Then why give me the wrong room number on purpose? In the days following that incident, the heaven-deceiving sex saintess seems to vanish entirely, not interfering with a certain someone's life at all. I set the matter aside for now, pouring all my attention into the upcoming training expedition. At the foot of Raven Sky Peak, one of the Azure Sunsec's 12 main peaks, on a stretch of flat ground partway up the mountainside, Overseer Cray of the Path Hall is comparing the 3 disciples assigned to him against the descriptions in the registry. Even as a nascent soul cultivator himself, he feels a faint edge of pressure. One of the 3 can refine pills to pill cloud grade, one is a junior connected to the elder who guards Soaring Cloud Peak, and the last has a mutated ice spirit root and doubles as both a healer and a formation master. He almost feels unqualified just to be the one recording and evaluating them. Still, whatever he's thinking, he keeps his tone light as he speaks. This year's batch of inner disciples has some real talent, I'll admit. 2 of you at Foundation Establishment, 1 at 9th Layer Chi Refinement. Have you 3 worked out who's going to be team leader?